Okay, chapter 10, motivation, leadership, and teams. What a combination. Motivation. What is motivation? My definition that I have here is it is an internal drive that causes people to behave in a certain way to meet a need. Well, what is a need? It's something that you want or you need to fulfill your life. So there's different types of needs. One of them is from within. If you have a need within you to do something specific, that's a type of need. It could be that you have a need. There's a type of motivation for rewards. You want to get something done because there's a reward at the end of it. So it could be money, it could be a vacation, it could be anything else. So let's look at Maslow's hierarchy. Some of you guys have probably seen this. You've probably seen it multiple times. But I'm going to open it here in Word. And there's several steps here. And as you see the arrow, people move up this hierarchy. The first need a person's need is for basic physiological needs: food, water, warmth, rest. There's some other things in there too, but those are the basics. Once this need is solved for you, you have fulfilled this need. You have food, you have water, you have all of this. You move up the hierarchy and you move to the safety needs. You're doing something based on you need the safety and you need the security. If you are, the way that this works in your job is once you have this, and this could be the money that you get from your job to fulfill the food, water, warmth, and rest. You move up to the safety and security. Well, the safety and security could be job security. You know that you're going to be there. You know that you're safe on your job. If some of these safety needs are not met, you move down and you are stuck at the physiological needs until you find another job or you find a way within the job that you're at to meet these safety needs. So these are your basic needs. Now, once your basic needs are met, you move up into the psychological needs. And the first one here is the belonging and love needs. That could be a relationship, intimate relationship, your friends. The way this works in your job is once you have your safety needs met, you feel okay to make friends on the job. You have this belongingness. You feel that you belong in that job. If you don't feel like you belong in the job, you're pushed back down to these safety needs. You're not going to move up into these other hierarchy areas. But if you do have that, then you're going to move up to the esteem needs, the prestige and feeling of accomplishment. Once you feel like you belong someplace, next thing is, do I feel like I accomplished something there? Am I important in this place? If you don't feel important, you're pushed down a level until you can do something to change your situation on that job. And this is where your ego comes into play. If your ego is not being fulfilled on your job, then you're not going to get past this and move up into the final stage, which the final stage is self-actualization. And that is when you feel like you have accomplished something. You feel important. You feel like you're at your full potential. And so that's your self-fulfillment. Once you finish this self-actualization, you move to the point to where you want to help others. And that's really, really important. There's no place else when you feel that important but to see yourself in someone else. So that is Maslow's hierarchy. And it is very, very important to know the stages that you go through on a job. Now, next one is leadership. There's several different leadership styles. And the leadership styles, I'm trying to get this to load here. There's different leaders. When you think of a leader, think of someone that you had that was either really good or really bad. And when you think about it, they'll probably fit into one of these categories. And the first one is autocratic. They make a decision on their own. They don't listen to other people. They don't talk to other people. They just say, here, this is the way you're going to do it. This can be good and bad. If it's just normal run of the day and someone is just making decisions on their own and they don't have any idea how it's going to affect you, that's bad. Or you really may have a better idea of how to get something done and get it done quicker because you're the one that is doing the work. That's a real tough thing. But there is a time that an autocratic leader is very, very important. If there is an emergency and something needs to get done and it needs to get done now, you need a leader that is going to make a decision so that you can just do it and get it done. So there is a time and a place for an autocratic leader. Now there's a democratic leader. They get input from staff, then they make their decisions. So you probably think, oh, that's great. That's great. I can really make a difference here. I can talk to them and really do that. That's a good leader for that type. But is there ever a time to where you see that they're getting too much input from staff? You just want to say, just make a decision so we can get on with stuff. And a good example of this is places like the school system, where there is meetings and meetings and meetings before there is ever a decision made. I'm the type of person that wants to make a decision and get things done. You know, I want the input from staff. We want to do it, want to get it done. I don't do real well with meeting after meeting after meeting in order to make that decision. Then there's the last type of leader. And this type of leader, well, I don't know if they're tough to work for. You think that would be great. Team members make their own decision without input from the leader. Well, that's great, but if something happens, who's going to take the blame? This type of leader is really not much of a leader because the members are leading themselves. And this could be rough if there's an emergency. Everybody's got their own idea on how they want to do that, and there isn't someone to make the decision to move forward. So think about those and think about, that when I was working for that person really was in this category. So leaders, and the reason we go through this is if you understand your leaders and understand how they work, you will be able to work better with them. Now let's look at teams. Teams need to be together. The first thing that a team needs, out of everything else, a team needs to know the goal. What is the goal? What is it that this team is trying to do? You've got formal teams, and they're developed through a formal chain of command or organizational structure. You've got informals, where they just get together outside the formal organization. Think of this as something like team sports. Then you've got virtual teams who are together electronically because they are not even in the same location. So they have a lot of things going on electronically. Now there's different stages of team development. You've got the formal stage where you guys are real formal because you're trying to figure out who's on this team and what does that person have to offer the team. Then once you figure that out, you go into the brainstorming. And this is often called the conflict stage because everyone is trying to get their idea out there. Everyone has a different idea to add to the team. So you need to give time, expect conflict, but you still need to listen, because although you think your idea is the best, others may have a good idea too. Then you've got the stage where the team is working past the conflicts. So this is where you're doing the negotiation about, some people don't like your idea, but if we did it a little bit different, would that work? So this is where you're really developing a plan on how to do a task as a team. Then you have the performing. This is where the team actually gets together and works on a task. Then once the task is done, you go to the adjourning. This is when it's complete. The group is no longer needed, but you still need one person to report on the project, on the completion of the project. So on the team development, all the way around through the team, you need to make sure that you keep sight of the goal. What is it that needs to be done? There's major problems with teams. A lot of times people don't want to be assigned into a team. They want to pick their own teams. How many times when we were in school did we want to be on the best sports team? But think of that, where they were picking teams, and maybe you were the last one picked. Maybe you weren't. Maybe you were the first one picked. So that's one problem. Not liking the team that you're put on. Another issue is power struggles. You may have 2 or 3 very, very strong personalities in a group, or maybe you don't have any strong personalities. Everyone is very quiet and timid, and you don't have a leader within the group. And then the biggest problem with teams, where someone doesn't do their job. They don't do their part in the job, but they want the credit. So what do you do about something like that? You'll need to do a lot of brainstorming, talking about alternatives and alternative ways to do, and you need to be open that one of these alternatives may not be your idea, it may be someone else's idea, but you need to talk. You need to communicate. Don't assume. So, and then there is the last thing as far as teams and meetings and all of that. There is what is called Robert's Rule of Order. And you need, a lot of times, if it is a formal meeting, you need to take Robert's Rule of Order into account, because what that is that is the official approved format for meetings. Someone is going to take notes. How soon do you have to post that there's going to be a meeting, and what is it going to be about? That kind of stuff. So it's really, Robert's Rule of Order sometimes is used, sometimes is not used. So that's really all that I have about that. Now, what do you have to do from here? This is the document, the Maslow hierarchy document. You have a lecture chat, just like we've had in the chapters before. You have a motivational pyramid, where I want you to create a pyramid and tell me in each of those pyramid sections, or you can do it with a T-table or something else. What is it that your desires, needs and desires, what would fit into those areas? Then this one is just the leadership styles document, and then there is the steps for the team development document. And I put these here so that you would have it. Partially as a study thing for your exam when you get to the point of the exam. It was just a nice place to have all the information together. So, okay, I'll let you start on chapter 11. See you at the next chapter.